Yo dudes!
Welcome to Whole Food Stew. So this is an immune boosting, longevity, epic stew. It builds on our pandemic pantry video of how to use lots of these whole dried foods. This is a stew which is made by the longest living siblings in the world. That's a family based in Ikarian with a collective age 9 siblings of 861 years. Wow. So this is whole food, it's no oil, it's a variation of that traditional recipe, and it's kind of like a Middle Eastern minestrone. Okay, yeah. First step, we have a pan on high heat. Notice no oil. So I've got 2 medium-sized white onions and 2 cloves of garlic. So we've chosen long store-life root vegetables because they will last a long time. Mine keep very well for 2 weeks in the bottom of my fridge in the box in a plastic bag. I know we shouldn't have things in plastic, but the plastic actually keeps the moisture in them. Okay, whoa. When you're chopping your carrots, try to chop them to a uniform size. It means they're gonna cook at a similar time frame. I've gone nice and thin so they cook quicker. Always when you're frying off carrots, I'll always chop in a good pinch of salt. The salt will help break down the cell walls of the carrots and help to kind of release their flavors and juices among the onion and garlic. Got 2 simple leeks. Leeks will last a long time. Just make sure to wash any sediment out of your leek. Okay, so my onion and garlic, a little bit of it starting to stick to the bottom of the pan because I'm cooking on high heat. I'm gonna add a couple of tablespoons of veg stock and just deglaze. Simple technique of deglazing. It'll help incorporate the flavor. So we've chopped 2 leeks into a similar size, just small coins. In they go into the pan. So as Steve said, this is a great recipe for immune system. We've got so many different types of vegetables, really high in antioxidants. And the fantastic, this is we're using store cupboard staples. So this is where we bring the pandemic pantry element to it. So we've got all sorts of different beans, black-eyed beans, lentils, and chickpeas. As we said, the longest living people in the world, legumes and beans make up about 50% of their diet on average because they're super high in carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates, and also protein and various other nutrients as well. So here you see I'm chopping up some broccoli stalk. Did you know that 1/3 of all food produced and grown typically ends up as waste? So the more we can use waste, or the waste veg, the more there's less waste. So once again, if anything's starting to stick into the bottom of the pan because we're not using oil, just go in with a tablespoon of veg stock and just stir and incorporate. Okay, now that we've got all the veg in the pan, I'm gonna pop a little bit of water in it and pop the lid on. We're gonna go in with about 5 tablespoons of water. So what this is known as, this is sweating. So right now you see the steam coming up, so that's the water evaporating. We put a lid on and now the steam starts to cook the veg and it's called sweating. It's gonna help the veg release its flavor, maintain moisture and just increase the flavor. Turn it down to medium heat and leave it there for probably 10 minutes. We're gonna stir it occasionally. So while our veg is sweating, we're gonna just drain and rinse our beans. We're using tin beans because it's very simple and practical. So I have 1 tin of green lentils, tin of black beans, and a tin of chickpeas. Just drain and rinse them. And use whatever tin beans you have. Tin beans are fantastic. As we mentioned there in terms of the blue zones, 50% of their diet is based around beans and legumes. They're one of the highest, they are in fact the highest source of fiber in our diet. And fiber is essential. It's a prebiotic for all the healthy bacteria in your gut, where 70% of your immune system cells are based in your gut. So any food that's really high in legumes, lentils, beans, chickpeas is fantastic for your microbiome, where most of your immune system cell is. If you want to learn more, we've got our Happy Gut course, which is based around building up your microbiome. Okay, so we've stewed that down for about 5 minutes. It's all stewed away beautifully. See, there's lots of moisture. All our vegetables have softened. And it really has. The little bit of water on the bottom of the veg stock kind of maintains that nothing burns. Okay, so now we're putting in our 3 tins of beans of choice. So that's about 750 grams altogether of beans and lentils. Cooked beans or lentils, that is, exactly. Just to clarify. Excellent, thank you for the clarification. Okay, and on top of that, we're gonna go in with our kale. We've got our cruciferous veg. So we have some broccoli here. Kale is fantastic, as you know, in terms of nutrient density aggregate index, which I'm sure you're really familiar with. It's pretty much just a list of the most nutrient dense food, and kale is in fact number 1. So it's fantastic in terms of immune boosting properties, really high in chlorophyll and all sorts of good stuff, and fiber, of course. And obviously any kind of thick stalks, I'm gonna chop them finely and put them in and hide them. So we're not wasting, again, we're kind of minimizing our waste. Okay, so final main ingredient other than condiments and the stock is we've got 150 grams of wholemeal pasta. Make sure it's wholemeal, whether it's, this one's actually a spelt, but whatever type, just make sure it's whole grain.
Like you could use brown rice if you want to make it gluten-free.
We're going in with about 2 liters of veg stock, so we've got about 2.5 liters in total.
I have 100 grams of tomato puree.
Just gonna give another depth of flavor. Of course, I have my dear friend Tamari. I highly doubt this is the original recipe, but we're gonna go in with 2 tablespoons just to give a depth of flavor to our beans and lentils and all our healthy vegetables.
Next step, we have 1 tin of passata or jar of passata, 680 grams, in it goes. Alternatively, you could use 2 tins of chopped tomatoes.
And if you don't have either of them, just add in, make the veg stock 3 liters instead of 2.5. Okay, so that's everything in our pot. We're just gonna bring it to the boil and leave it to simmer, and then we are pretty much ready to go.
So we left that simmer for about 10-15 minutes and it's totally bulked up. It looks so nutritious.
Look at that, like it looks just so honest.
Okay, before we serve it, just basic thing, obviously tasting and just seasoning to your palate, so I'm just gonna try it.
Particularly the sauce. The sauce is the basis of where you're gonna taste.
Wow. Beautiful, like absolutely magnificent.
That's elegant.
So I'm gonna give just a little bit of black pepper, a little dash of lemon, that'll add a bit of vitality, cut through the tomato.
And I'm gonna put a little bit of chili flakes when we serve it. So literally into a bowl. Stephen very nicely has baked some sourdough.
I baked a lovely malted sourdough, just hot out of the oven. This is properly hot. So we have, look, watch this, look, you'll see smoke. Oh, nice crumb on it. Look, listen to the crust in this, right, you ready?
Nice, that's proper fresh. So I'll go with a little sprinkling of chili flakes. A nice fadge of bread. And ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Wholemeal, plant-based stew for immune system. Perfect for all your store cupboard staples, really fantastic, super wholesome, nourishing, and as we said, a variation
like
of
it's so flavorful, like it really is, and there's a lot going on there from the kind of root veg that will melt in your mouth. You've got kind of a nice bite off the beans, bit of crusty bread, like this just tastes like
amazing.
a belly hug.
Really, really good. And as we said, this is a stew that the longest living family in the world eat. They've eaten it every day supposedly for lunch, so this is a variation of it. So yeah, there we have it.
If anyone finds they have more time in your hands, we have a wonderful ultimate vegan cooking course. Details down below. It distills 15 years as vegan chefs and how to teach you how to cook without recipes. And please excuse me talking around my mouth full. Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Cheers.